So I've finally got round to starting my new computer desk, and as you can see, I've made a start. This is the top, and these sections here are to thicken it up. I haven't gone double layered all the way round, just around the edge. So rather than a 19mm thickness, it actually looks like 38mm thickness, which is going to be absolutely lovely. And as you can probably see, this is oak veneered MDF. And this is going to give it a really, really nice finish. I'm going to be putting some edging around the edge and on the legs, so it will look really nice once it's finished. So I began by obviously buying the sheet material and then chopping it up in the workshop. And I am going to be getting myself a track saw very soon. I know what you're thinking, and I definitely need one now. I've been putting it off and putting it off. I didn't just want to get a cheap one, so I'm going to buy a really nice one in a little while, not just yet, but very soon. So that'll make things a whole lot easier. So once I did all the major cutting, I could put some of it through the table saw and some of it on the miter saw just to get it cut roughly to size. And what I'm going to be doing next with the top is gluing and brad nailing these sections on. And it is a little bit oversized because I wasn't keen on actually lining, leveling everything up, particularly the fact that I'm going to be putting some edging on. So it's hanging over just a little bit, and what I'll do, I'll run the router trim around so I get all the edges nice and flush. Next up, I'm going to prepare and laminate two of these boards together to make the end panels for the desk. So basically what it is you're going to have on one side of the desk are two of these panels glued together to make a 38mm thick board, and they're going to sit together roughly like that, and then the top's going to go on there. So what I need to do is laminate two of these together. And I've got 8 altogether. That's obviously going to give me 4, 2 each end. But what I've done, again, because I don't want to try and cut them the same size and then level them up when I'm gluing, and I'm not going to be brad nailing these because you are potentially going to see both sides. So I am just going to glue them, stack them, clamp them, weight them down. So I've got 4 here which are exactly the right size, and then I've got 4 here which are a little bit over. So what I shall do is match one with one, do that, put that in the middle of that. Once that glue's gone off, I shall just run round with the router trimmer, and I'll have one panel 38mm thick with some nice clean edges all the way round. Right, well there we go. There's the ends all glued up, so we'll leave those. Once they're dry, we can start trimming them and trim the top, and then we can start construction. I've got a 1/2 inch flush trim router bit in the router, so what we've got to do next is get them all trimmed up so we've got some lovely flush edges all the way round. Before I put the edge tape on, I'm going to seal all the edges with some diluted PVA, because MDF is so porous that when I try and put the pre-glued oak veneer edge tape on, I'm just worried that it's not going to be smooth enough and it's going to be too porous for the glue to really stick. So by putting some PVA on, I'm going to ensure that it's pre-sealed, which should really help with the edge tape. I want to be really careful though not to get any too close to the top surface here. And you can see when this goes on that it just completely sinks in. I'm ready to put the edge tape on, and I've bought this roll and another 2 rolls of 40mm oak veneer iron-on edging. I did think about putting hardwood on it, but this can look just as nice if you get it right. So the PVA on these edges have dried. I've gone over it very, very slightly with a bit of kind of worn, smooth 120 paper, just to take any tiny little rough bits off. It's now really smooth, and I've cut my first piece of edging tape. I can feel the heat from the iron right now, so that's set on a high heat, and we're just going to run that along and get this strip on to one of the sides. Just checking that all that glue has started melting, and then what I'll do is just take a piece of timber and just push that down with that, just checking that it's equal on both sides. So when it comes to trimming this edge tape, just want to take a file and just very gently get started by filing away that veneer or the edge tape, whatever it is you're using, and then using a nice shallow angle and moving along. I'll just get rid of this bit here. And then you can see the angle. I've got the file. Just do nice, long, gentle strokes. And that starts to produce this really nice edge. And then I'll just run along it with a piece of 120 paper, just to take off that sharp edge. And then you're left with a lovely finish, and you just never know, would you? Not really. With all the edging done, I'm now going to put a couple of holes in the top of this end panel. I'm using a 10mm drill. I'm using a pointed end bit. I've got some 10mm dowels, obviously, for a 10mm drill. And I'm going in, once it's gone into this jig here, it goes in roughly about 22, 23mm. These are 40mm long 10mm dowels, so that'll just give me a little bit of wiggle room to go in here and in the top or what have you. So, got my jig, and what I'll do in order to get it in the right position is drop that in there, put that point right where I want the dowel, and I shall hold that in place and drill it. What I'm doing here is cutting a piece of hardwood that's going to be fixed to the bottom of the end panels to keep them in place. And I'm going to be gluing and brad nailing this to the bottom. So this is the support that's going towards the back of the desk. And because I've designed it like this, not going double thickness all the way round, what I need to do with this is just notch out a couple of sections from the ends here so it can actually drop down and this edge sit directly on the worktop, so then I can put my dowels in. So I'm just going to notch out these sections now. So in theory, that should now slot in there, look at that, perfect. With these hardwood strips that I've put on the bottom of the legs, I think I might have to try and darken them a bit. It's a little bit annoying, the colour, but you're not really going to see it because it's going to hit the carpet and the rug. And the other thing I want to do to it to make it a little less harsh and to, you know, because it's really going to dent the carpet and the rug, is I'm going to put a round over bit. So I've got a round over bit in the router, and I'm just going to do that all around the bottom of it so it gives it a much softer contact with the carpet, and it should just make it look a little bit better really. And the reason I've clamped this piece on here is because I want to go across the grain, and if you go straight across the grain with a router as such, it's very likely it's going to break out. So this is really just sort of supporting the end piece from breaking. I should just go along there, and then do the two long edges, which is obviously with the grain. So I've got the desk inside, this is where it's going. Let's get it put together. And there we go, check that out. I'm absolutely loving that. I think that looks really nice. I'm really happy with it. I love the thickness, the thick legs, the thick top. It's really stable. Gonna have my computer on here, my editing software. It's gonna be an absolute pleasure to work here. So I do hope you enjoyed watching the build as much as I enjoyed doing the build or making the desk. And I will be selling these, so if you are interested and you are fairly local, I'm going to be making these to size and bespoke and what have you, so you know you can see how it's done. And if you want one, yeah, get in touch, no problem. If you've got any thoughts or feedback on this build, things I could have done differently, for example, I'd love to hear that, so leave some of those comments in the comments box. Well, I've got to get on with finishing this now, so if you want to see the finished article, then go to my Instagram account and I'm going to put some lovely fresh pictures of this newly varnished, so go check it out. Well, thanks for watching guys, I'm done. I'll see you on the next video.